Hi guys, welcome back to Twisting Tales. At the end of the last part of the story, our main character Gabe had just found out about the zombies from Logan and Casey. They went back to his apartment to regroup and see if there was anything that they could learn. Gabe had just thrown up from the stress, or possibly from his hangover the night before. Please like this video while you're listening if you enjoy the story. Now let's get right into part 2 of Endshore Apocalypse. You sit in the bathroom, brushing your teeth again to get the taste of vomit out of your mouth. Casey and Logan are sitting on your couch and smoking. It's supposed to be a non-smoking apartment, but pointing it out when there are psychos out in the streets pretending to be zombies seems a little useless. You step into the kitchen from the small bathroom and start pouring yourself a coffee. You guys want a coffee? You call out. Please, replies Logan in a deep, resounding voice. Hell yeah, says Casey. You dig through your cupboards, finding another coffee mug and a random old tiny teacup. It'll have to do, you think to yourself. What do you take? You call out to them. Lots of cream and sugar, Logan says in response. Black, Casey answers. I need it to kick me in the face right now. You look at the cups and decide to take the tiny teacup for yourself so as not to stick one of them with it, and add just a little cream to that one. Then you fix up the other mugs as requested, filling them with coffee. Rather than awkwardly struggle with 3 cups, you decide to take 2 trips and bring out Casey and Logan's coffees first. You hand Casey hers and she grabs it and immediately starts guzzling the piping hot liquid, burning her mouth, yet going back for more. Logan takes his mug, which ends up being dwarfed in his meaty hands, and just cradles it between his palms. You gesture at the remote sitting next to Logan. Check the news out, you say. What are they saying about all this? What are we supposed to do? Logan moves his coffee into just one hand and reaches for the remote, as you go back into the kitchen to grab your coffee. You pick up the cup and just stare at it for a minute in silence, until Logan breaks that silence. How the hell? Logan says, prompting you to head back into the main room. I hit the channel and it just says not available. Give me that, you idiot, says Casey as she snatches the remote from Logan's hand. You've got to hit exit when it's in Netflix and then you pick the channel. When she hits exit, it switches back to the network, where the local news is already on. Logan simply shrugs and goes back to cradling his coffee, while Casey slams back the rest of her cup and leans forward to watch the TV. You move in slowly and watch, taking a small sip from the hot coffee. How did she manage to slam that, you wonder? Law enforcement officers are doing their best to keep the situation contained, the nicely dressed female news anchor says. But again, we must stress to people that staying indoors is safest at this point. These, well, there's no other word to call them but zombies, are not like movie zombies. If you're armed, shooting them or stabbing them in the brain only slows them down. It doesn't kill them as it does in the movies. Here we have a clip sent in from an anonymous source showing the resilience of these creatures. We just want to caution you that some viewers may be disturbed by the following clip, but in light of the situation, we are choosing to show it in its entirety. The clip starts up showing one of the zombies, a young woman that appears to be shackled to a wall in chains. The body is riddled with bullet holes. Your stomach is churning from the sight of it. Even covered in holes and blood, she is still fighting against her restraints. Her glowing eyes are staring right through the men in the room with her. Her teeth are gnashing at them, hoping to latch on for a bite. It can't be zombies, you think. It has to be some kind of drug, some kind of disease or something. They will figure out what this is. The clip continues as the 2 redneck-looking guys fire round after round into the girl's body. She slumps down limp, and one of the guys with a big, bushy beard looks into the camera, his voice very much matching his stereotype. Now looky here, he says. Body shots ain't gonna stop her. With a low groan, the girl raises her head slowly. They must have hit her with 30 rounds to the chest. No normal person can take that. Maybe they just missed her vital organs? She opens her eyes and they have the same bright red glow as the ones from outside. Almost like a deep red glow stick has replaced her irises. She rises to her feet and begins shuffling toward the two rednecks again, being jerked to a halt by the chains, but not slowing or stopping. "Now watch this," says the other man, who puts the barrel of what looks like a crazy large handgun to the girl's forehead and pulls the trigger with a loud bang. A visceral spray shooting from the back of her head, painting the wall behind her. Again she falls limp, held up only by the shackles and chains. You retch a bit, but swallow hard to suppress it. You wonder what kind of people these guys have to be to have all these human restraints on hands like that. It only takes a moment before the girl raises her head again. You can clearly see right through the massive bullet hole that blew the back of her skull out. Yet she is still moving, and her eyes go from white and dead to red and glowing. Pure hatred shows on her face. Even with a literal hole in her head, she was still moving and trying to claw at the two men. "Headshots done do nothing," the first guy says, as he grabs the girl by her hair and holds her head down. The other man grabs a huge sword and raises it above his head. With a huge swing, he hacks into the girl's neck, spraying congealed blood in all directions. It takes 3 chops from the sword before he makes it all the way through, removing the girl's head as her body falls limp. The first guy holds the head up by the hair, the eyes have gone white, and the body is limp. "Oh my God," is all you're able to mutter. It looks like you have to completely remove their head to stop them. This isn't at all like the zombie movies made it out to be, with a bunch of heroes going out shooting zombies in the head. Suddenly, you see the girl's body moving, her eyes open, the familiar red glow returning. Her teeth start gnashing as her body starts to claw and rake at the two men, even with her head not attached. You cover your mouth in horror. Casey stands up and points at the screen. "Holy crap, guys," she shouts, jumping up and down. "Are you guys seeing this?" The video isn't over. The camera pans around and shows dozens of bodies hacked down to individual limbs, disembodied arms still moving around randomly, detached legs bending and squirming. The first guy throws the girl's head into a shopping cart filled with other heads. All the eyes glowing with the same killer glow. All the teeth gnashing and biting at nothing. He then grabs another head from the cart. A man with a mustache, blisters on his skin. He looks as if he's been dead for a lot longer than the girl, but still moving. He walks over to the chained up body of the girl that's still trying to claw randomly at the air, unable to see. "Now, y'all ain't gonna believe this," he says as he lifts the man's head up and puts it on the body of the girl, where her head was removed. "Just gotta leave it for a sec." He held the head in place for a moment and then slowly let go. The dead man's head seemed to be perfectly balanced on the woman's body, but shockingly, the head started to look around left and right. Then, focused in on the two guys. The girl's body, which had just been grasping randomly, also seemed to regain coordination and reach for the men in front of it. "Check this out," the second man said, as he pushed at the head on the girl's body, and somehow it seemed to resist and pulled back to look at the man, biting in his direction, like they had somehow fused and become one body again. "This other head is now running the body." "Free it!" the first man shouted. "Look at the cart! They're coming out!" The camera drops to the ground, and you hear the sounds of gunshots. A hand falls in front of the camera, covered in blood. The clip ends there as the video goes to static. The reporter looks up from her notes at the end of the clip. She too was visibly shaken from the imagery. Again, Law enforcement is doing their best to contain these. The reporter paused, swallowing. Zombies. We are being told not to try to fight back. They can't truly be stopped. Stay inside, block any windows, bar your doors. The streets of Endshore are not safe. We are awaiting military intervention. We are going to be broadcasting from here as long as we are able, covering the carnage. You'll be getting any details as we get them. Casey turned off the TV, and the three of you stared at the screen in shock, silent. Minutes went by with no one saying anything. Finally, Logan broke the silence. Holy mother of... All right, guys, that's it for part 2. What a crazy twist. These zombies are definitely not like anything our characters have seen before. Do you think they can even be stopped? What do you think they should do next? It looks like the only way to even slow them down is to chop them to pieces. What do you think happened to the guys recording the video? At least one had to make it to get the video out of there. If you don't want to miss the next video, please subscribe and click the notifications bell. And if you're able, please consider supporting me on Patreon to help keep more content like this coming. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next installment.